I've seen a lot of young people, youth, like young boys, in particular teenagers, wilding out. All right, and we're going to talk a bit about that today. And when I say wilding out, it could be things like you'll notice there's been a rash of incidents, right? Smash and grab jewelry stores, like you know what I mean, like auto thefts, like it's crazy, and it's happening everywhere. We live in the city. We see Brampton, Saga, North York, the old city of York. It's happening everywhere, right? And there was even a week period where smash and grab robs like three in a week. Like it's just crazy, right? So that's actually why we did that happen around here too.
Next door.
You're joking.
That's why.
You're joking. That was that one of the. I mean, they're happening everywhere. Is that one of the spots?
Well, it's not one of the spots, but it's the spot to me.
Really? Okay. See, there you go. Right. So this is what's going on now. Okay, that's what makes this very timely. So that's what it grew out of, right? And then a bunch of men, years ago, this has been going on for almost 20 years, but men came together and said, it's a lot of young boys, young men doing it, right? It's not dudes like our age, like in their 40s and 50s and 60s doing. It's basically young dudes doing this thing, right? So what can we as men, is there a lack of male leadership, tied to guys as young, teenagers and 20-somethings wilding out, and that's how this program started. Now it used to be called More Than a Haircut, and we just jumped into barbershops, and we got funding and sponsorship from at the time the Collie Child Development Center. Now we're supported by an organization called York Hills Center for Children, Youth, and Families.
Yeah.
And they support us, and we go out and just have talks in barbershops. Now the reason, just to talk about men, like we look at the barbershop as kind of like a safe space to have conversations amongst men, right? And this male focus is very important because you don't really see. There's not a lot of places you would go where it's just a bunch of dudes, just in a space. You know what I mean? It's just a bunch of men. There's not many places like this, right? So what we do is very intentional. We know when we show up in Jay's Barbershop Couture, there's going to be a bunch of dudes hanging around, right? And then we can just talk about issues as it relates. Okay, you want to hold on? Just let me just hold on. Yes. So as it relates to young men and cross generations, all right. And as far as facilitators, that's one of them. Yutaka, he's one of them. My name's Dalton. I'm one of the facilitators. This is our program coordinator, Kai. Okay, and Kai is attached to York Hills Center for Children, Youth, and Families. All right. So as far as conversations, they're very casual and free and open-ended, just like we're talking about the Raptors. I think the Raptors are kind of trash. You know what I mean? Somebody else in the shop may think they're great. You know what I mean? They think they're in a rebuilding year and great things are coming, ahead, right? And then we have these fun conversations. But so when we're talking about issues like today, we're going to talk about what's going on with our youth and mental health. Feel free. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just that we're just having a conversation, right? And in fact, the program used to be called More Than a Haircut. It's just neighborhood conversations. All right. So today, today we did want to talk about what's going on, sort of to increase your awareness around what's happening in youth culture, tied to this spate of violence, robberies in the city where we live. We see this stuff happening a lot. And it's happening out here as well, apparently. As Jay is telling me next door, you got people trying to rob the place. So I wanted to sort of talk about what's going on with, and there's also some younger guys in here. What's going on in youth culture? All right. I have grown kids. You know what I mean. I have a son who's going to school in the States in Washington, and what he tells me is a lot of the same things you see happening here. Guys, smash and grab jewelry stores, rob. He says that's happening in Washington as well. It's a lot of the same things happening there, right? He says that a lot of the perpetrators are young teenagers, maybe into their early 20s, right? It's not grown, adults, in their 40s or 30s. It's young dudes doing it, right? So I wanted to put it out there, just a question for you guys. It's in the news every day. This type of, what we call, youth wilding out. Like, what is going on in Toronto? In the GTA. York region, where we're at now, Brampton, Toronto, because it's happening everywhere. It's not something that's relegated to downtown Toronto, or even relegated to, they said the hood. It's like incidents happening in the hood. No, it's not the hood. It's happening at malls. It's happening at, what's a mall? Because it's happening at malls now, like just commercial malls.
That's
right?
crazy.
A bunch of dudes are going in and smash and grab jewelry. It's happening everywhere, right? It's not so what do you guys, I want to get your perspective. What do you think is happening in the GTA and surrounding regions tied to this kind of activity? I mean, what's your feelings on it, opinions, theories? Anybody? What do you think is happening? I'll start over there. What do you think?
I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, it's hard to pinpoint. Like, I think it's the same booze for like it got
Couple
wild when I
times.
was in high school.
Couple times.
Couple times, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember in high school, like people were like at the mall when it happened, and then they were like, there's like Snapchat videos of like the cops chasing them down like Highway 7. After they got robbed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's one of the spots then that I see in the news. It's around here.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't make the connection though, because so many places have, this has happened. Jewelry stores in the city, right? And even the mall in North. Yes. Okay. So one of them is right around here. You see in the news, Markville, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're saying that so the social media, the influence there, people trying to get clout or clickbait, throw it up on SixBuzz or maybe that's part of it. And then you also said getting money, right? Maybe to get quick cash,
Yeah.
right? That could be something. I don't know, right? Anyone else? I need to get some theories. What's going on? You know what I mean? Like,
I heard people are just getting released, right? Like, the punishments aren't strict enough, so easy money and then get released, do it again over and over again. But I don't know why this is a new thing, right? Like, what this has been a thing before too, so I don't know.
It might be education. It might be that
Yeah.
they're more educated and understand the laws and understand that the ramifications for their transgressions aren't as bad as they might have assumed they would be. So like, oh, I can do this. And if I get caught, it's not going to be as bad as I imagined it would be.
okay, right. So what were the other ideas? These are strong ideas. This idea you get a slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
And everybody knows that. So we have this thing called, like the Young Offenders Act, which, came about decades ago. And so if you're is it under 17? Under 17, 18? You're not
12 to 17.
12, 17, right? Exactly. 12, 17. So you're not, they can't report your name. Because, we used to talk about this years ago.
I remember back when I was in school that they're talking about that. When I was in grade school.
Yeah.
That's
It's
when
been
it came
around.
out, right?
Yeah. It's been around for a couple decades.
I didn't know
But
that was still a thing though.
yeah. Oh, it's very much still a thing. Yeah.
I think the act has changed.
It's changed, yeah. To what? Is it called something else now?
Yeah.
But they can't report your name publicly. The feeling in the
There's
community.
protection for young people.
Yeah, protection for young people. Yeah. There's that, but young people probably know that too. I think they kind of know that they're gonna get a slap on the wrist, right? Because that was the criticism of the Young Offenders Act back then, is that you could go wild out, rob a bunch of stuff, and you're not gonna get the severe penalty. You're protected under sort of youth protections. And they can't say your name, and they can't, you know what I mean? So young people knew that back then, right? Yeah.
I wish I knew that when I was young.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean.
Oh, but then again,
Yeah.
it came out after I became an adult, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That whole Young Offenders Act or whatever thing,
Yeah.
I feel like kids aren't really thinking about it because I feel like the mindset of a kid, they're not probably thinking like, hey, I'm gonna go do something stupid and then I'm gonna get caught and nothing's gonna happen because I feel like they know that if they get caught,
Mhm.
their parents are probably gonna like do something to them, you know what I mean? They're still gonna get in trouble. So
Yeah.
I feel like the main influence is rap music.
Okay.
Rap
And,
Okay.
I would say
Okay.
it's rap music.
Let's go there. Okay.
Because it's kind of like this. A lot of these kids, they basically listen to all this rap music and hip hop. That's the biggest genre nowadays.
Yes.
If you listen to the type of music that these kids are listening to nowadays, it's kind of messed up, right?
Kind of messed up.
So all this rap music, they talk about hitting licks, robbing people, money this, money that, just doing bad stuff. So that behavior is kind of like glorified in that culture, right?
Yeah.
So if a kid does something bad, and then they go to their friends and tell them that they did something bad, they're gonna be like, yo, that was sick. You know what I mean? They're gonna think that they have that like positive reinforcement, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
But if you look at a culture like Japan is like the lowest amount of crime rate. Like it's a super low crime rate, and that's because the culture in Japan is to shame people who do bad stuff like that. But if you're a kid and you don't really have that many great role models, I guess you'd say, and you do something bad and it's being positively reinforced by the music that you're listening to every single day on a day-to-day basis,
Yeah.
it's kind of messed up. Like I see like these little kids rapping and that sort of stuff, like freestyle rapping.
Yeah.
And the first lyrics that comes to their head is like, yo, I'm gonna shoot you in the head, cap you in the face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just things like that. It's just like a positive reinforcement thing when it comes to that sort of behavior. And when you're hanging around a bunch of people who do the same exact thing, you start to think it's cool.
Yeah.
So that's just my opinion. I think it's the hip hop culture and the rap music and that sort of stuff nowadays.
Yeah. Anybody else want to chime in on that? The hip hop, or just music culture, because it is there. A lot of people say there is a correlation. Because just as far as trap, and also too, like we're older dudes, but like I know, like I'm not teaching this semester, but I teach a course at University downtown about Drake and the Weeknd, right? At Toronto Metropolitan University. And it's a course, but that's about Drake and the Weeknd. It's not about trap or Little Baby the Baby. It's not any of that. You know what I mean? Ice Spice, whatever they're dominating the charts. It's about Drizzy.
Old Spice.
Yeah, Ice Spice, Old Spice. You know, it's not about that. But yeah, what do you? That whole idea. There's a correlation between what's being, hip hop culture is the dominant youth culture, music form of today. It's been for years. So that's just a fact, right? So if you look at the charts, Kendrick Lamar, Drake, like they've been dominating the charts, right? So we know that it's not heavy metal. It's not, country's doing super well. Like, Shabuzi is doing well, but it's not rock and roll, indie rock. It's hip hop. This is a hip hop generation right now. Do you guys also feel that that's playing, a little bit of a role as far as the influence on young people? Some of the messaging behind what you hear in a lot of the trap sounds of today? What do you guys think? Anything?
I guess I can't disagree with that.
Okay.
I was brought up in hip hop culture,
Yeah.
and I don't feel like it influenced any negative behaviors,
Yeah.
or had me think about the ideas of committing crime, even though there was that in the music. But
Yeah.
again, I'm not everyone, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's different, and everybody's tolerance for absorbing information is different,
Yeah.
and the way that they react to the information they get, the music that they get, and what inspires them. So I guess it might actually have an effect somewhat.
Yeah. Like hip hop's not telling. It's like this idea of one of the defenses of hip hop culture. They say like, I listen to a track, some trap, some Lil Baby, and he's talking about committing a violent act, and it's not like he's telling you to do it. Like you have some free will.
Right.
Hopefully, you know what I mean. Hopefully you have some free will. In Toronto, maybe not so much. You know what I mean? Like the kids, I don't know what's going on, but that to not take that messaging that you hear in music and just kind of like act it out, and then get it up on social media, on Instagram or something like that, right?
Are these young people actually doing hip hop, or are these, what's this new term they have, no drill music?
Oh, drill,
drill,
trap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way I see it, it's kind of like these kids have been listening to this sort of genre of music since they were little.
Yes.
So if they're listening to that sort of stuff on a day-to-day basis, it's basically programming their brain to think that stuff's normal. It's kind of like the whole drug culture, right?
Yes.
I don't know if you guys listen to that sort of drug music, like Xans, this,
Yeah.
this,
Oh yeah.
you know?
For sure.
But back when I was in high school, that sort of music was big. Everyone was listening to like rappers talking about doing lean, doing drugs.
Yes.
And I seen around me a bunch of people doing like Xanax and lean and that sort of stuff. I was in
Yes.
high school, right?
Yeah.
Because it's normalized. But then people, as they got older, they started realizing, yo, that stuff's like liquid meth, right?
Yeah.
So that's the thing, is that when you're at a young age and you're listening to that sort of music and that stuff's normalized,
Yeah.
then people are just gonna think that if they do it, it's not a big deal,
Yeah.
right? Like people are just gonna think that them robbing people is not a big deal. It's just like a day-to-day thing. Because it's glorified by this music that people are literally programming into their brain every single day.
Yeah.
Like if you go to any of these kids that are, I guarantee you, if you take any of those kids that were robbing the jewelry stores and that sort of stuff,
Yeah.
ask them to see their playlists on Spotify.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Like,
Yeah. It's just
they're not
ridiculous.
listening to Billie Eilish, like they're.
Yeah. No, it's heavy. No, the content, what Jay was saying, like hip hop from back in the days, like it was just a lot more balanced. This is what like a lot of us OGs would say, like yeah. So you would have the stuff, the party, you know what I mean, the whatever drugs, whatever people were doing, but then you'd also have a lot of artists that are talking about like go to college or university. Like there's just stuff to like positive stuff. Do you mean learn about your history? There was a lot of that. And that's what we grew up with. It was actually back then. It was actually cool to be smart. To be honest, right? Yeah, you'd have a bunch of rappers, KRS-One, Rakim. They're like, yeah, read books, read books, study the science, study the world, travel. Like yeah. So we grew up. It's like a lot more balanced, right? So on the one hand, you'd have the trap and drill stuff, but then you'd have rappers that are really popular, Public Enemy, Tribe Called Quest. They're talking about stuff about learn your history. KRS-One has a song called "You Must Learn,"
Right.
which is about learning about African history. You know what I mean? Like, but that's what we grew up with, right? I don't know like how many rappers now like are songs about like like go to college and like learn about your history and
There might
maybe
be
stuff like
there might be a whole bunch. There might be a whole bunch.
yeah.
But they're not at the forefront of the sphere of music.
Yeah,
Right?
they're not being put out there. They're not being
Right.
put out there.
Right. So.
Yeah, they're not being put out there, and then maybe there's something to that too.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're not being celebrated, not
I
being
remember,
promoted.
I forgot the name of the group, Everyday People.
Yes.
When they came out,
Arrested Development.
Arrested Development.
Arrested Development.
and everybody clowned them as being lame,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and they disappeared because they weren't getting the attention that some of the more notorious rappers were getting.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when the music music I was listening to when I was young was reggae music and Parliament. You don't see me going out in diapers running around the street.
Right, so
I have to listen to Parliament.
I think it has something to do with like leaders, right?
Yeah.
And followers. And there are more followers than there are leaders. So
I
you're
think it
gonna,
should be.
you're gonna see a lot of people being influenced, but it's the followers, it's the weak-minded
Yeah.
people that are doing it. The leaders don't do it because they realize they don't need to do things like that to gain respect from their peers or their followers. Or the followers do it so that maybe they can gain respect. And just like he's saying, like back when he was in school, people were doing Xanax and doing all these drugs because the music was saying it's cool, so that they did it, so that they could seem cool to whoever they want to get their approval from.
Yeah. That's a even separate from, you strip it away from all the messaging from contemporary hip hop. Do you guys feel like our young people, and we're not here to slam or crap on young people, but they are largely the perpetrators of what you see guys see in the news. Like at Markville, again, it's not a bunch of 45-year-olds. I guess that's what happened, right? Is there some as far as a mental health aspect, like young people, are their minds right now? Is there something else like a mental health crisis, post-pandemic or tied to economics? Is there something else there tied to that you guys think? Tied to mental health of young
Maybe
people today,
what you have seen personally.
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
on
Yeah.
personally.
What are you guys thinking? Knowing that, and I say all this to say because we know that there's a bit of a mental health crisis around. We talk about, for young women, we're here to talk about like young, boys, men, youth, but we know that, for example, and it's something maybe you guys aren't even thinking about much, which I guess maybe really shouldn't be, but Statistics Canada, Stats Canada, they say like 1 out of every 3 Canadian is going to experience some form of mental health issue, right? 1 out of every 3 Canadians, right? And then amongst young people, it's like they say like 1 out of every 5 young person is gonna. And when we say mental health, I'm saying like anxiety, depression, stuff like that, right? I don't necessarily mean like full-on clinical, like schizophrenia or whatever, but just like anxiety, depression, just stuff like that. Come out of a pandemic, it's like, whoa, there's no money coming in. I have to pay bills. I'm worried about paying for college. Like, fall into depression. It could turn to clinical depression, stuff like that. But do you guys see anything there, like kind of is it like a mental health kind of thing going on?
I don't think that these kids are necessarily acting out because of mental health issues.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. I think that these kids are just acting out because they think it's cool.
Yeah.
That's what I truly believe. I think these kids just think it's cool. I don't think it has anything to do with. It might have a bit to do with mental health and just like social media, and they want to feel like they gotta fit in and that sort of stuff. But I feel like they are just strictly acting out on this stuff because they think it's cool. They think it's fun. And that's the thing, because if you look at, even in Markman, back when I was in high school, there were kids doing some stupid stuff, but they were living in like 2-parent households with multi-million-dollar homes and that sort of stuff, right? So they don't have anything to, I guess you would say, gain. Like there's some people who live in good homes who are doing stupid stuff, but the only reason why they're doing that stuff is because the influence that these, I guess you could say, rap artists or their friends or these celebrities have on them. Right, so when it comes to mental health, I feel like it's just a small factor that plays into that,
Yeah, it's cool. It's a cool culture. It's wanting to fit in, wanting to blend in, right? And also too. So let's go back. You say social media. I think that's come up, right? Somebody said social. Can we talk about social media? Is there some influence, in fact, social media? TikTok, what we see, because I'm older, right? But I'm on socials, 24/7, tied to work and other things. My kids, they live on it. My daughter is like 24/7, right? There's a TikTok ban coming in the United States on Sunday, perhaps, so we're going to see what's happening there, tied to the relationship between America and China. But so music culture, hip hop culture, does it play a role in influence? Probably. You know what I mean? I think it kind of does, 100%, only because hip hop is the dominant youth music culture form of today. So it shows up everywhere. It's what most young people do. I can tell you as a part-time educator, 100%. And that cuts across, race distinctions, class, culture. Everybody's doing it, right? So my classrooms, for example, people will be like, yeah, I teach a course about Drake in the Weeknd. They're thinking, like, oh, it's a bunch of, whatever, black kids from, like, no. My class is mostly white. It's mostly white guys.
Yeah.
White women, South Asian, right? Asian, Middle Eastern, right? Eastern European. That's what my classroom is, right? Yeah, it's not a bunch of kids from the hood or that at all, right? Hip hop is everybody. I mean, it's like you know what I mean. Like if you go or when you go to OVO Fest, Drake, you guys know Drake. You just go to OVO Fest, and what do you see there, right? You see South Asian community members. You see Asian, white, black. You see everything there, right? So it's dominated the popular culture, right? It's not relegated to like, oh, you're a hip hop head. No, it's like it's pop culture now. You know what I mean? So the question is like, even with that, I want to go back to the social media piece. I want to get your opinion. I want to get yours too. I'm going to pick on everybody here because all of you guys are on social media. You're on social media, right?
Not that much.
Not that much, no? What do you want? What social media are you on?
Just on Instagram every now and then.
Okay, Instagram every now and then. What social media you on? Okay, TikTok. So I'm gonna pick on him for sure. TikTok, TikTok is where it's at. TikTok, everybody's at TikTok. Like, what are you mostly on?
Yeah, like IG, TikTok sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, IG and TikTok. Okay, Facebook, anybody?
I'm on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay. Okay, Facebook, Instagram. That's for old people. You know what I mean? There's nobody on Facebook, bro. Like, you know, that's for me. You know what I mean? That's for these guys. These guys are on Facebook. You know? That's old. You know what I mean? Like,
I still have MySpace. So.
MySpace. Okay, right, exactly. Exactly. He's a MySpace account. Okay. So, just take it back.
Still friends with Tom.
Exactly. MySpace, Facebook, old people. Okay. Today's culture, TikTok, Instagram. So so even let's talk about TikTok, Instagram, and is there any kind of influence there on youth culture as far as things that trends? As far as what we talked about, incidences of youth violence, just stuff. Is there a correlation between people, what's happening on TikTok, and is that sort of influencing the day-to-day lives of young people? Right? Do you think? Does it have a heavy influence? Would you say TikTok?
Yeah, I think so. I think it normalizes it, right?
Okay.
Like back then you wouldn't see, you hear about it, you read about it in the news, but you don't see it happen. Now everybody's doing it, like, why not?
Yeah. Yeah. So-
Copycats.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay. Copycats from TikTok, right? Okay. You. What about social media? Does it have a huge influence? Do you think on when I say youth, I'm saying teenagers, 20-somethings, whatever. Does it have a huge influence on your day-to-day living? Would you say?
Like for the youth, yeah, definitely. I think that's why, like, cause I know it's implemented now, but I know like Doug Ford was trying to ban like phones right in the classroom. Like you have to literally like lock up your phone at the beginning of the day and then you
Yeah.
get it back at the end.
Yes.
But like, cause yeah, like even for me, like I'm done like university now, but like I'll like see like a random TikTok that blew up and it's like some high school kid doing something stupid and his friend like filmed it, but it's like got like million likes or something like.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be
No.
stupid. Like he's doing like a money spread in front of the teacher or something like that.
That's right. That's right. No, for sure.
It's like that's crazy. Like I know like a money like you take all the bills and like you like spread them
In front
out.
of the teacher.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. That's a real thing. That's a real thing. And you were saying you're not as much on social media, and why not? Why not?
Don't care for it.
Okay. It's just whatever. Time waster, or is it like?
Like I'll casually browse every now and then, but
I think he wants to keep his brain intact.
He wants to keep his brain intact. Exactly. Yeah. No. It's a total. For some, anyways, it can be a time waster. It's like I look at it like a rabbit hole. You go down the rabbit hole. Like that's what TikTok is for me. I told my wife and I was like, nah, I can't do this because once you kind of peel back some, you go into a subject matter, it's just like it takes you down a rabbit hole, and it's very time consuming, right? So if you're concerned with things tied to the real world, like just kind of work or like an entrepreneur, it's for me it's a little bit you can be on there for 2-3 hours without even blinking. Yeah, it just flies by, and then I'm not getting my actual work done. So that's what it is for me. Of course, if you're a teenager or 20-something, you look at it differently, right? It's just like, no, that's where I need to be. I want to be in the rabbit hole, right?
I think it was Jay that said earlier that youth been doing stuff long before social media became a thing. I agree with him on that. But I think social media, and tell me if I'm wrong, or you agree with me, social media magnify all the foolishness youth would normally do because, youth are youth. And they get bored easy and they will try to find something to fill the boredom. Like you said about the young cat, high school cat, blowing up because of doing some stupidness on TikTok. you know, people playing pranks on people.
Yeah.
I mean, explain that to me, please, 'cause
You're like
I'm slow.
incentivizing stupid behavior, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's exciting to watch stupidness.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what we used to say, like, even in music culture, like, as people, like, I've been studying for years, like, you can have a rapper that's talking, or it's kind of like this, you know, they say, like, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, that whole, or unholy trinity, you know, they said that's always gonna outsell every, you know, like, sex, drugs, rock and roll, right? The popular culture, it's always gonna get more attention, that kind of stuff. Versus sometimes if you're doing something more, which is not a good thing, it's a terrible thing, but it's oftentimes a reality. People will go see Hollywood films and tune into things, they want to see the train wreck. You know, Hollywood movies where buildings are blowing up and there's a lot of violence and sex and gratuitous, but that's the stuff it blows up, you know, in this culture, in you know, in Western culture. In other cultures, maybe not so much, you know what I mean? But definitely here, if you shoot a film now, it has a lot of, you know, stuff, people being maimed and robbing jewelry stores and gratuitous sex and violence. It's gonna blow up. It's gonna go viral on TikTok. It's gonna be shared like crazy on Instagram, right? 6ixBuzz is an example of that. You guys know the, you know what I mean? Yeah, right? Yeah, 6ixBuzz is like, you know, so it's just a bunch of weird, like they just post, like say, hey, yeah, there's a,
Here. What's 6 months?
oh, 6ixBuzz, yeah, it's basically an Instagram page, and they have a blog site, and it's about youth culture, like, not youth culture, they do everything, politics, you know, they talk about everything, but it's what's buzzing in Toronto.
It's like a news. I look at it like a news, almost like a news for like the youth.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
they'll post like latest things, like Trudeau stepped down. They'll post stuff like that, or they'll post like other videos of like crime happening. That's what it's 6 bucks kind of like.
yeah, it's like news for young people.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't know if they're informing you, like being news, or if they're promoting it, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's true.
Yes.
It's kind of like you're towing the line, you know?
Yes, they're towing the line and it's working. So the idea here, if we talk, it's working, right? Where you even, like, you're not on social media, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I'm on 6 bucks.
Right, okay, you know what I'm saying, right? You know what I'm saying?
It's like I gotta get my news.
Exactly, right? You know what I mean? You're not on social media much, but you know 6ixBuzz. We know what it does, right? We check it out, you know what I mean? So the thing is with that now, where 6ixBuzz is proof positive of that theory, where it's just like, they do report on news, you know, Trudeau stepping down, Chrystia Freeland and Mark Carney, you know, the former bank, you know, they're gonna run for Liberal. So they do news items and they do current affairs, but they also put a lot of just wild stuff going on in the city, you know what I mean? Like, right? So if there's a 4-car pileup over here, car crash and something where it's everything, you know, and it's just like, and the thing is they get the views, right? So they get views like through the roof. When you look at the comment section of 6ixBuzz, anything they post, it's just like they get thousands of comments. You know, the reels, they get a ton of views. And it kind of started out as a little bit, just negative. It's like clickbait, you know what I mean? It's just weird stuff. But, you know, they're proof, I think that, you know, 6ixBuzz is proof, living proof that, like, you can just post crazy weird stuff, and it's gonna get the views. It's gonna get the comments, you know what I mean? If you put up a page now, or how about this, Jay? Like, if you put up a page and it was just news that was, like, positive news, right?
Yeah.
Let's say I started an Instagram page right now, and it's about saying, you know, in York region, there's you know, entrepreneurs setting up you know, new businesses and doing well for themselves. And exactly, right? You know what I mean? Exactly, right? Nobody's going on the page. It's not getting any. The reels aren't getting any views. The comment section's going to be empty. You know what I mean? That's just a fact.
You know
Right?
what, saying this now reminds me, I started watching 2 nights ago, Jerry Springer documentary,
Okay. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Now Jerry Springer, first of all, I didn't know he was at one point the governor of Cincinnati.
Mayor of Cincinnati.
Mayor of Cincinnati.
He was?
Yes, I didn't know that.
I agree
What?
with that.
Yeah, before he got into the talk show.
I didn't know
he was
that.
mayor.
Okay.
And then, so he was a newscaster in the evening,
Yeah.
talk show host during the day. So he had his talk show. He had, like, you know, but then there was like a million talk shows. You know what I'm saying? There was a million talk. Donna View,
Yeah.
no ratings, right?
Yeah.
So what became interesting was that now they're about to get canceled. They hired a new art director,
Yeah.
and he came from tabloid magazines, and he's the guy that writes all the crazy headlines.
Yeah.
Oh, my toaster is possessed by Satan.
That's right. Yeah.
Those type of things,
Oh,
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So he came and brought that idea to daytime talk show.
Okay.
right? So now it's like the most extreme, weird, lowbrow entertainment we're gonna bring to
Yeah.
this thing.
Yeah.
And he went from almost getting canceled to
Yeah.
almost competing with Oprah
Yes.
because people want to see the nonsense.
People want to see that. Jerry Springer. Jerry Springer would be like, you know, the show, a sample show on Jerry Springer, right? It's like, yeah, you know, yeah, I impregnated these 5 women, and then they're all on set and saying,
Right.
you know, they do, you know, tests like, what do you say, fertility, a test to see, like, who's the father, stuff like that, right? Yeah, you are not the father. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, and so that kind of trash tabloid stuff you're talking about, that blows up. We would all watch it. Because there was a show right now.
So Maury Povich turned to that, right?
Yes, Maury Povich.
Because
Yeah.
he was a regular.
Yes,
regular
right.
talk
Yeah,
show
he
guy.
was. Yes, he
And
was.
then all
Yes.
of a sudden now he's the fertility guy.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Maury Povich. I remember he was, you know, regular talk show. Talk about, you know, okay, what's going on, and you know, in economics, interest rates are going, just whatever, just stuff going on. You know, schools are closing down. What's the state of education? Just talking about regular stuff, and then he became that kind of trash tabloid talk show host, and it blew up, right? And then it's just like, okay, you know, I impregnated 10 women and all. Yeah, then it just became ridiculous, right? And then the ratings go like this, through the roof, right? So there's proof positive. So, but then what does that say about our society, where we reward? If I do a television show now, and I'm talking about, you know, climate change and, you know, like just you know, entrepreneurship, climate change, not talking about sex, drugs, rock and roll, impregnating 10 women at the same time, but it gets no ratings, right? If I do a show right now and it's about climate change, you're not watching it, you know what I mean? None of you guys are watching it, you know what I mean? Let's be real. But I do something about, you know, like, you know, smash and grab at Markville, you know, jewelry store and just stuff like that. You know what I mean? You guys are gonna watch it. It's just like, yo, like, right? So what does that say about our society, our culture? What do you guys like think about that? In this kind of society, what does it say about us? Right? If we were to look at it, what does it say about us?
I guess we're the same as we've always been.
Okay. Okay.
Because I mean, the gladiators had to fight the lions in the Colosseum.
Sure.
You know what I mean? For the entertainment of the people. That's what the people wanted to see. They just want to see nonsense. They always want to see nonsense.
Right. So then, okay, but on the flip side, why? But yeah, but then that's saying, so we're fueling the foolishness, right?
Right.
We are Six Buzz, right? Literally, because if I do it right now, I'm pretty active on Instagram. You know what I mean? Like, and I post something, you know, it's like, yeah, you know, entrepreneurs, you know, new business developments and just stuff that's actually kind of cool and interesting or tied to economics or whatever. Like, you're not going to tune in as much, right? But if I do some foolishness, you guys will all follow me immediately and like share my content.
Right.
What does that say about us, though? Like, what does it say about you? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, just what's your own personal self-reflection on that?
Well, I know I watch stupid stuff like
Right. That's right.
That's
Yeah,
all-
yeah,
that's all-
appreciate
I'm
it.
reading like simple things. I know that.
I appreciate your honesty, brother. You know what I'm saying?
I don't want to read complicated topics in my free time.
Okay, right? Okay, there you go.
Right. And that's kind of what the producer's his whole thing was like, nobody wants to under downtime.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be serious. Nobody wants to take in serious information. They just want to relax, have something fun to watch.
Right. Okay.
And the fun thing is always the midget that's dating the prostitute.
Right. Okay. Right. Okay. So that's so even tying it back. I'm gonna wrap up shortly, but even tying it back to like, so is it something about us where we have to maybe how about I'm coming up with this theory in real time where, you know, it can be quite stressful, you know, living in these societies, right? Like, you know, work, school, right? You go to school, like you said, you know, went to university, graduated, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
recently, and it's just like, okay, great, like tuition, okay, so it's not free, right? So you have to pay for tuition. You want to get decent grades, like you don't want to flunk out, you don't want to like fail courses. You know what I'm trying to say, and have to retake them, okay?
Sure, yeah.
Right? So there's stresses there. There's also stress coming from your family, like your mother or father or both or whatever. They're just like, yo, like, are you failed the course? Like, I'm helping you pay tuition. Like, what are you doing, right? So all of us have stresses, right? Bills for us now. When we get older, it's just like straight bills. You know, like I have kids, like it's just straight bills. You know, rent, mortgage, car payments, whatever. You know, it's very just super economic driven versus when you're a teenager. So is it something? Are we saying then we need like escapism or something away from the day-to-day rituals of bills and money and am I going to get a job? I'm applying for jobs, I'm not getting them. Is that what what we're saying a little bit? You know, because you just said.
It is for me, yeah. I just want to shut my mind off, right?
Okay, yeah, you want to shut it off, literally, right?
Yeah.
Because what? Because you work at school, like you're working.
Yeah,
at school?
work.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's how I've always been too, right? Like even younger, it's entertainment, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm watching it to have fun. I don't want to too much of my mind into things.
Yeah, because you have to do that for work.
Right.
Okay, boom, there. What about you? Same thing? The same kind of
Yeah, I
idea?
agree. Like it's just like a way to turn your brain off and like I don't know,
So-
forget about like the monotony of like the day to day, right? Yeah.
Okay, right?
But the same thing, like I don't know if that's good all the time, but like I just choose to ignore it. I guess I don't know.
Yeah. We need this, you know, it's part of seeing it. And then with the even hip hop now. Let's go on that. We're gonna wrap up 2 seconds. Even with hip hop, okay. Thanks for everything. Okay, thanks. Yeah. Okay, good.
Continue,
Yeah,
bye.
cheers. Even with hip hop, like tied to that, is hip hop are young people mostly living vicariously through you know, the baby, little baby, Kendrick, you know, Ice Spice, you know, Megan Thee Stallion, Glorilla. Is that part of it too? Kind of like it's just like you listen to music, watch the videos, and it's just like the monotony. You use that term monotony, the predictable nature of our day to day. Okay, I go to work 9 to 5, I come home, I eat dinner, like, you know, blah blah blah. But then I watch these guys now, and they're just like, you know, wild. You know what I mean? They're out there, you know, bunch, you know, different girls, like they're just out there, fast cars and doing all this stuff. Is that part of the lure of hip hop maybe, where it's just like, you know, what do you? Because I'm kind of hanging with the hip hop thing. Is that what it is? Like a kind of, it's just pure escapism. You know what I mean? For good or bad,
Yeah.
But is that the lure of hip hop? Guys, you know, jewelry, like a lot of the top, I'm just using Little Baby the Baby because my son listens to them, and it's just like, yeah, they're iced out, man. They have like really fast, expensive cars. Like that's kind of what they're projecting, and they talk about it, right? They're wearing like gold fronts, you know, that cost, you know, jewelry, 80,000 piece here. This piece, this necklace, you know, costs 200,000. Like that's what they're doing, you know. So is that a part of it, you know, where kids are like, yo, I want to do that. Like I want to, you know, I don't know, you know. Just asking the question. Maybe you guys. Maybe that's not it. I don't know. Right?
I think so. I think they're trying to like portray an image. Yeah. I think kids are living vicariously through them. It's a lifestyle that like, you know, nobody's ever gonna realistically achieve, right? So I don't think these people actually live like this too, right? I think they're portraying a character.
Right.
Like I'm sure Drake's a normal guy, like
Yeah.
you know, like, you're not partying all day.
Yeah.
I don't know about that one.
It's half and half though, right? Like, you're not always in that lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah, not always. Exactly.
Well,
You think
I
he's
don't
partying 24/7?
Well, there was a show that I saw where there was someone who was trying to get into the music industry, and so there are services that you can rent that if you want to portray flying on a plane,
Oh yeah, I saw that.
you saw that one, right?
It's Studio.
Then you can rent it.
Yeah.
It makes it look like a car, a house, whatever. So it's quite possible that people aren't really living like that. You're just renting it so that you pay something.
Yeah. I know from music videos, it is a lot of that. They having working in that industry for years. Like yeah, you rent mansions, right? When you shoot a video, like let's say I'm a rapper from Unionville, or you know, like saying I'm from, you know, it's just like yeah, you or York region. So that's what you do though, right? You rent mansions. That's literally what you do. I don't know if people know that or they think, yeah, you just rent a mansion for a day and you shoot. You're a video director. I've been on many, ton of video sets, and yeah, you're just looking for, and then, you know, when you see guys pull up, it could be like a Tesla truck, you know, the Cybertruck, or, you know, in the video, so you see all of that, but then the rapper, once the video shoot is over, you return that Tesla Cybertruck. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm saying that mansion, whatever you're portraying in the videos, like that's not how the rappers or musicians, you know, are living at all.
Right.
Right? So it also becomes, it's like almost like a trope. It's a cliche, a caricature. But all the video sets that I've been on over the years are working in publicity. So yeah, you go, you know, video. Even I've been on even like Sean Paul and all. Like I've been a million, you know. And it's just like yeah, you're renting stuff. Like you know what I mean? Like you're renting. Like it's not real, is what I'm saying. You know, like what's in the video, and you see guys, yo, flossing. It's rented. It's rented for the day. You know, is what I'm trying to say, right?
I guess often people end up doing things so that they can gain things. So
Yeah.
the rap stars are idolized
Yeah.
by the girls.
Yeah.
The guys want the girls, so they want to do whatever they can do to kind of be as close to imitating or emulating the rap star that the girls idolize.
Yes. Yes.
So if they don't have the means, they'll end up doing whatever they need to do to get the means so they can get the girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that might end up being the situation where you run into the jewelry store and smash and grabbing, you know, because now I can flip this
Yeah.
$2,000 worth of jewelry. I thought it was gonna be 30,000, it's only 2,000 because it's all fake.
Yeah.
And you know, now I can go buy something, and or maybe I can go pop a couple bottles in the club.
Yeah.
And after I pop the bottles, I don't have no more money. I gotta go smash and grab again because I need to look good next week.
Right? That could be part of it. And then that's the correlation to even just to wrap up with the hip hop culture piece. Like, yeah, there's what is being projected, tied to your earlier theory is that, yeah, no, if people see, if all you see on social media and, in videos and TikTok and is this rappers projecting a certain lifestyle, you're going to want to live up to that lifestyle, you know what I mean? So I think some kids are taking that to heart, you know what I mean? Because even, and also too, I was talking about this idea of, mental health and like what's the mental health of being a teenager now, like post-pandemic, like how are you feeling, and the idea of young boys and youth, they don't have just like when I was back, you don't have a way of really expressing that. Like if you're going through like kind of, feeling depressed or anxiety over like, I didn't get into the college or university I wanted to. I'm a failure. My immigrant household parents thinks I'm a failure. You know what I mean? Like already, because everybody here is immigrant parents, you know what I mean, right? So they have a certain view on how they'd like to see your life go. Become an accountant, a lawyer. And it's like, no, I want to be something else. I want to, be a landscape artist. I want to do something else. So it's a lot of pressure and a lot of So young, boy, the argument is that boys, young men, they don't really even know how to express those feelings at all. Versus, young girls, young women, they know how to kind of more expressive. They can show their emotion, but dudes are just like, they suppress all of that and they just kind of just go off and do stuff, right? So that was that angle I wanted to just, introduce to this. It's like a lot of the young boys and youth. I think there's other things going on, is what I'm saying, man. I don't think it's just like, okay, hip hop. Does it play an influence on, how, absolutely, you know what I mean? But I would be willing to suggest, I think there's other things going on with like young men now. There's other things going on, bro. 'Cause you're not just gonna go do, you know what I mean? Like jewelry, like it's this, and you see the groups, there's large groupings of them and stuff. You see like 9, 10 dudes smash and grab them, like, there's something else going on there. That's what I'm suggesting, right? There's something else going on there. I don't know what that is, but that's why we're opening up this discussion to the floor. Maybe you guys, maybe there's something that'll come to you after this conversation or something you're thinking about now, but I think there's definitely something else going on there. And young men, they're not doing a very good job of, and also are seeking help or, something to talk about those issues, you know what I mean? It could be you're broke, dropped out of school, like whatever, can't get a job. I think they're just going to other means to kind of fill those gaps, the void in their life,
Why? Like what I said before, I feel like it's really just the culture, man. Because I feel like a lot of these kids, they don't actually need to do that stuff.
Yeah.
They're doing it literally because they want to do it, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of these kids, it's not like they're starving. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
they're not living in the project starving and they need money to do certain things. They're doing it
Yeah.
because their friends are doing it.
Yeah.
And they just want to do it, right? So
Yeah.
back when I was younger, I guess you could say that I wasn't like the best kid. Like there's been times where I'd steal from Dollarama on my lunch break at school
Yeah.
and that sort of stuff because all my friends are doing it,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And then when you get away with it, you're like, oh, that was sick. I kind of want to do that again. You know what I
Right.
mean? So that's the thing. It's like
Yes.
these kids that are doing it, I feel like it's really not because they're hungry or something's going on. It could be,
Yeah.
but I feel like they're doing it, especially in these areas, because they think it's cool and because they're just doing it for fun.
Yeah.
You think you'd ever have gotten to the point where you'd like hit people's jewelry and
I don't know.
you might have been.
I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe if I was hanging out with the wrong people, and that's the thing. It's
Yeah.
like hanging out with the wrong people too, right?
Yeah.
Like once you're into that culture and you're into that sort of stuff, you're naturally just gonna attract the people who are into that stuff too. So what happens when a bunch of, I guess you would say, people are on that path to get together? They're gonna end up doing something like
Yes.
stupid. They're gonna accumulate their power together and do something worse, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Like I remember seeing back at parties back in high school, there was good kids literally like popping chains off of people just for fun.
Yes, that's right.
Literally
Yes.
just for fun. But
Yes.
if you listen to some of the music, it's like, oh, I snatched your chain from you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's the thing. Like these kids who are doing that, they're just normal kids. It's not even like they're bad kids. Like they're just normal people hanging out with the wrong people, listening to the stuff on the internet, thinking it's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Like they're not hurting. Like a couple things like kids from, let's say Markville, out here, the mall.
Yeah.
Like the kids that are doing it. Like if you look at here's an interesting thing. If you look at the profile of the youth that smash and grab at the jewelry store right around here. If you look at their profile, that would be fascinating. I don't know. I just
Right.
watch the news like everybody else, current affairs, and like they're not. I don't think they're. You know what I mean? Like low income household, can't pay the rent, can't pay the mortgage, don't that I don't know. Like again, I don't know, but I don't. That might not be their profile at all, right? You know what I mean? It might be just living in kind of semi-functioning households, and you know what I mean. Their mother's around, or father, or both. Like I don't know. You know what I mean?
How he was explaining it sounds to me like there's a lot of adrenaline junkies right now.
Adrenaline junkies, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You guys adrenaline, yeah.
Getting high elbow ball,
Yeah.
stuff they shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, that's what we did, right? Just like how you, again, I appreciate all of your honesty. That's what makes our sessions fun. Is
Speak
like
for
when,
yourself, I was a church boy.
yeah, right. You know what I mean? But the idea here is we're total strangers. We're just having this conversation, and you guys are like sharing things, right? Like that's what it's about. Like when men, get together, you're just gonna talk the things. You're not afraid, And even you saying like, yeah, when you're young, stealing Dollarama, yeah, like we did it. Like I believe you with this story. Like we were I went to school called Fairbank in the city, and Dufferin and Eglinton around there. And I remember like we were gonna rob a Kentucky Fried Chicken. You know what I mean? Like that's what we wanted to do. Yeah. Now it had nothing to do with anything. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like no, it had nothing to do. I'm not just telling you, it had zero to do with anything. I grew up, and in fact, to be honest, like my parents, 2-parent household, they're still here. Whatever, 2-parent household, everything's fine. Like working class family, immigrant family, like you guys. And yeah, I remember we were plotting to rob the KFC. You know the one right at Caledonia? Well, I don't think it's there now. Caledonia and Eglinton. There used to be a KFC right there.
It's not there anymore.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So we were plotting to rob it, and I'm just like, it's not like, we needed to eat chicken or needed, it's just,
Something to do.
we're bored, bro. Like, you know what I mean? I think back and go, man, when you're young, you're a knucklehead, man, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And I remember us plotting, going, okay, you're gonna, distract the guy at the cash register, then we'll grab the chicken, and I'm just going, you know what I mean? It had nothing to do with anything.
You're gonna
It
grab
had
the
nothing to do with
chicken.
anything. It had nothing to do with anything, bro.
Robbing them for money.
Yeah, it wasn't even money really. It was just like to get chicken, bro. It was to get chicken. It wasn't really about the money. You know what I mean? No. It was to get the chicken, bro.
You go to the back, you fill up 2 buckets.
Yeah, exactly. It was to get the chicken. Yeah, no. To make it clear, no, that's what it was. It was focused on to get buckets of like chicken. But it's not like we were starving. Like, you know what I mean? Like I said, parents. A lot of us had, single mother or, my both parents or whatever. We had parents at the home. And we were eating 3 square meals. You know what I mean? It's not like we needed, you know what I mean? So just to give you an example, when you said that, yeah, when you're young, you're a knucklehead. You're just doing stuff. Like, it doesn't make any sense. When I look back, I go, what were you doing? Like, just
When you guys, when you were young, doing certain things, how do you view your peers who didn't do those things? How do you see them? Do you see them as not part of the group, or what?
Yeah, I feel like that was good. You kind of just look at the guys who aren't doing that and just be like, oh, those guys are pussies or something like that. Like,
You know what I mean?
they're geeks, they're nerds, or whatever. They're not cool. They're not cool. Whatever the hell that means, yeah.
You have something to say, somewhat cool, right?
Yeah. Okay, how you doing? Okay, good. Okay, so we're good. So listen, thank you guys participating in the discussion, and we pop in here, Jay's Shop Couture. Thank you as a community partner. Thank you for having us as always. And and we've been doing this project for years, and a lot of barbershops across the city and in York region too. They know us. When they see us coming in, they're like, yeah, we're gonna have a spicy conversation about something and learn something, share information. So thank you guys for participating. My name's Dalton, Support Coordinator Kai. And if you need any more information tied to the program, I think you handed out some stuff to fill out.
Flyers here.
Yeah, exactly. Flyers about the program, and yeah,
Brochures, rather.
no, for sure.
And
And
that's, a thank you for your clients for participating.
Yeah.
We'll cover the prep. I have your e-transfer information.
Okay.
I like that better than cash.
All right.
So I'll send you some this evening. To cover these two.
Okay.
And their price. And if it, as Dalton likes to say, please tip your barber.
just do what you normally do or whatever, and then
We'll cover.
we're topping it up. Yeah, we're topping it up. All right, that's how we'll yeah.
You guys do your part?
Yeah. But you could tip him nicely. That's fine because we're gonna cover it. Just what do what you do. It's fine. It's all good. It's whatever. You know what I mean? Like we're just here to support us. Like barbers. You know what I mean? So it's cool. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So that's what we're gonna do. We're tipping, or I'll view it like that. We're tipping you nicely. All right, our community partners. View it that way. All right. Well,
Well, thank you guys for another great session.
no. Thank you for participating. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Another good session on Manhattan Drive.
Yes. Because I'm gonna go home and watch. On Saturdays I watch college basketball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I'll check out some games.
I Just before
I only
him.
watch it when the tournament comes around.
Oh yeah, NCAA.
Yeah.
Yeah. I usually
You
watch.
guys just missed, what's it called? Shay's dad.
Who?
Shay Gillis Alexander.
Yeah, yeah.
So he was just before you guys all
You're
here.
joking. You
Yeah.
cut his dad's hair?
Yeah.
Yo, bro, like Jay, you know when he no, cause that like cause his son, man.
I was gonna say something stupid. I was gonna say
What?
his father's Canadian.
Yeah. No, his Shay Gilgis
I thought you guys were gonna come in like while he was here.
What? No, listen. The next step, does he set up appointments with you in advance or no? Like, or does he just kind of pass through whenever?
No, he said something weird.
Okay, so I'm gonna bug you on Instagram. I'll be like, because we're into basketball chat. His son his game is ridiculous, and I used to see him play
Love his game.
when he played for Uplay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I love his game.
him and his cousin Nikhil Alexander Walker.
Right.
Their game is so like it technical. The footwork that like that they have all the counters, to get technical. I'm just like, so I always wondered who trained Shea Gillis Alexander and Nikhil, because their game is so step back. It like I haven't seen that's why he's the second leading scorer in the NBA now. He averages like 30 games. He averages like 31 a game. You know what I mean? But I saw that when he was younger.
According to Nikhil, they grew up together.
Yes.
And they competed with each other.
Yeah.
So I guess being that they kind of say on the same
Yeah.
level skill wise,
Yeah.
they have to figure out a way to get around to beat each other.
Yeah.
So they couldn't overpower each other, so they worked on their skill a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he said,
That makes sense.
right?
Yeah.
Because amateur basketball these days is a crapshoot. They just throw people out there and tell them to be exciting, without no fundamental.
AAU, yeah, exactly.
You know what I
AAU
mean?
circuit is like that.
And they usually stack the teams anyway.
But his game is just like as a
Oh, his
ball.
game is nice.
His game is just ridiculous because it's just technical. He's not driving on guys, dunking on. He doesn't even dunk. That's how good he is. He doesn't need athleticism. Is that a big part of his game?
No.
Right? So I used to watch him play. You play, and his footwork. He's just a step back, mid range. I'm like, this guy's ridiculous. He's just taking you apart, and it has nothing to do with athleticism. Right?
People think that he's boring.
That he's boring.
Yeah.
His game.
Yeah. People just like to see dunks.
I mean, yeah, it's not John Moran. There's no athleticism to it, really. It's just like
English.
Josh should
yes,
be done.
yeah. It's like
Josh
that
gonna
Alex
be
English
done.
on steroids.
Josh's gonna be done in 3 years.
Who?
Josh's gonna be done in 3 years.
Why? You mean because his knees
His
are
game doesn't.
Yeah.
His game is not about longevity.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. He said he's gonna stop dunking though. I think he said something like that. He's not gonna dunk as much.
Yeah, that lasted about a minute.
Yeah.
Eventually, everyone reaches that conclusion.
Yeah.
You have to stop the dunk.
Yeah.
As what did Vince Carter used to say, it's not the dunk, it's the landing.
Right. Yeah. The knees they go.
Yeah.
You have to be careful you don't land on somebody's
Oh,
leg,
that's the camera. That's the.
somebody's feet or anything like that.
Yeah. But the guy's averaging like 31 a game. Right? I think 31.6 is crazy.
I think he should have won MVP last year.
That's what people are saying. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. You think he's gonna win it this year?
No.
No, why not? Who's gonna win it then?
He has to.
He can't. Yeah.
No, because he's not getting the kind of push in the media that Jokic and
Right.
Luka
Right.
get. It's all about media.
But 31 a game will get you some attention.
Yeah.
And being the first place team in the West has to say something.
Yeah, but he was first place last year.
It's true.
And I think he was scoring 32 last year. And he didn't make it. And Jokic had a worse year last year than he's having this year.
I know that's a scary part.
You know?
But Winter has to say something.
Anyway, thanks a lot, man.
Okay, guys. Okay, cool. All right, respect, man.
Hey, I'm gonna hit you up in a short while.
All right, enjoy the weekend.
I'm gonna hit you up in a short while for next month.
All right.
Yeah. Not to make it a scene out of it or nothing like that, because we come in your shop anyway, so you know what I mean. But it's just like if we just happen to stumble in when you know what I'm saying. That's how I play it. I don't mean no. I'm not trying to do no. Kind of like.
I tried to organize it because he was supposed to come later, and I was like,
Yeah.
then I organized it so he can come earlier.
Yeah.
So I thought you guys would be here at the time, but
Yeah. Okay. We'll coordinate that.
I can come early.
Yeah. Whatever. Yeah.
That would be good for me.
no, but
Depends on him.
No, because he's not here until
Oh, okay. I see.
right. So it'll just be me and him, and he's like, hey.
Yeah. True. Yeah. Right. That's right. Yeah. No, that's not gonna go. That's not gonna go.
Alright.
Okay, guys.
Let's keep it on this. Thanks a lot, guys.
Take it
Guys,
easy.
enjoy the
guys.
rest of your night.